Hello, this is Doug Bender, current president of International Conservation Fund. I'd like to talk to you about experiences I've had in nature conservation over the past decade and what led me to ICF myself and why I think ICF is the best organization there is to engage with, work with, perhaps donate to. So before getting into nature conservation, I had a really good career in aerospace engineering, specifically spacecraft engineering. Here you see a picture of me with my team getting an award back in 2009, as it says. And so that was me then. Uh, and as I was getting ready to retire from that work, I was thinking about what I could do that would be good and useful in the world, hopefully. And I thought about climate change, I thought about species extinction. I thought the most fun and also the highest impact would be working on trying to address the species extinction crisis and the nature collapse crisis that we have going on in the world. So here's a picture of me then. Next chart will be a picture of me now. And here you see more recent things I've been engaged in. For example, on the upper right, there's me helping lay out a camera trap to capture pictures of dholes, which are an endangered species of canines. That picture is in Thailand. And the other two pictures are out at a little tiny island off the coast of Cambodia where there's a fantastic field partner named Marine Conservation Cambodia that I've been closely engaged with for a number of years. In fact, that's how I met ICF in the first place. And I'm giving a lecture there in one, and the other one, I'm carrying out a drone that I brought from the US to Cambodia. Quite an adventure getting that drone out there. So I've had the luck and privilege and experience of learning about all kinds of tools that nature conservationists use: camera traps, transects, radio collars on animals, things like that. Occasionally I get to apply some of my own engineering and management background to try to help these projects, but really it's just been a privilege to be able to have so much fun and learn so much. And you can see it's a different lifestyle quite a bit than working in an engineering office. And so I've done some research that you see a little bit of here on this chart and the next chart about the pressures being put on nature by human activity. It's just so much around the world: the habitat destruction, the overexploitation, pet trade, and so on, the invasive species, climate change, ocean acidification. This picture shows some examples of nearly extinct species here. The northern white rhino, I think there's only 3 of them left. The vaquitas, a tiny dolphin in the Sea of Cortez in Mexico, only a handful left. The lower one's kind of interesting. It's elephant tusks being burned to try to kill the market for ivory. So this chart and the next one kind of show a little bit of that research I've been doing that got me motivated to work on the nature conservation. So these are some more examples showing the different types of pressure on nature. The picture in the upper left, you see clear cutting in Brazil, where the rainforest is literally being chopped down to make a cattle farm or soybean farm. The general rate of extinction is way higher than it would be if humans weren't on the scene. Some places like the red wolves in southeast United States used to be pretty much everywhere east of the Mississippi. Now they're just in a few isolated areas. They're still viable, but only in those tiny areas, so they really need to be protected. The Psiloris in the lower left are animals that live on the edge of the forest, so they're vulnerable to the pet trade. People have them as pets. They're actually poisonous, so the people who capture them for pets take their teeth out. I had the privilege of being up close and personal with some Psilolorises myself at the animal rescue in Laos that I volunteered at, where some of the animals rescued from the pet trade were there. As one of my jobs to feed them in the morning, so I got to see, and they really are slow. They kind of hang out in the corner of the cage. Anyway, in the chart here you see some of the statistics, but we really need to carve out space for nature, and that's what ICF is about doing. And so here you see some of the other experiences I had in the last decade. I didn't know it then, but I was actually preparing for my current work with ICF. On the left, there I am at the animal rescue facility in Laos, in that particular picture, making structures for rescued bears, play structures for the bears. But a lot of the animals there being rescued were bears from Bear Bile farms, and also monkeys from that were being held as pets and so on. But it was also part of the Laos Zoo, and so I learned a lot about zoo management. What doesn't show in the picture is how very hot it is there in Laos. You could work for about half an hour doing that kind of work, and then you just got to stop and take a drink. Great learning experience. Over on the right, you see me in Cuba. Really nice project with Earthwatch. A lot of these projects I did were with Earthwatch back in the day. And there I'm working with a guy named Michael, the leading naturalist in Cuba. So I worked with some of the best people in Cuba doing transects, learning about the flora and fauna there in Cuba. Really great experiences. And all of that really I consider a training ground for my current work in International Conservation Fund. And here's pictures from two more projects I worked on before my ICF engagement. The upper right is with Earthwatch in the Amazon in Peru, and the theme on this picture is how important community engagement is. We were working along the riverbanks of the Amazon, and this is one of the villages, and that guy there is the village chief. You really have to work with the existing communities, and that's one of the themes of ICF's selection of field partners is community engagement. And the lower right, we're taking an animal in Mongolia. I think it's a vulture, and Mongolia project is actually now an ICF project. We're actually supporting that same project at the Iknart Park in Mongolia. Mongolia is really a key area, more than people realize. It's a very low population density, lowest population density country in the world. And there's so much open rangeland there and grassland with a lot of wildlife in it. So that was my introduction, was going there as an Earthwatch volunteer. So here's a summary of the different projects I was fortunate enough to engage on in this past decade. A lot of it before COVID. But you see projects here in Latin America, one in Africa, a number in Asia. That's really become my focus area. And some of them with, as I mentioned, with Earthwatch and Marine Conservation Cambodia is its own entity. That's actually how I met ICF, Marine Conservation Cambodia. And so now, of course, I'm focused more on what the ICF projects are that we support, which includes Marine Conservation Cambodia and also the Fishing Cats project in Cambodia, and the so-called Grunion Queens in Mexico. So several of these are projects that ICF now supports, and others are things I worked on before COVID as a volunteer. And so I consider that experience I had mostly before COVID to be perfect training ground for my engagement now with International Conservation Fund. And really, it was great learning to understand what makes a successful and valuable project to try to conserve nature. The local community engagement, the science-based nature of these projects. I feel like I've had the right experience, and now I feel like I'm ready for the next phase, which is trying to grow ICF to try to have the greatest impact possible. And so now I find myself president of International Conservation Fund. I'm honored to serve in this capacity, and I would hope that donors would find us also the right organization to work with. We select field partners around the world in the areas of highest biodiversity that you see on the map. We select them based on having highest conservation value as proven. It has to be science-based. They have to be doing their work based on science showing that they're protecting the most critical parts of nature. They have to be engaged with their community. We're not doing fortress conservation where we put fences up around the areas that are being protected. They have to be long-term committed. We're not doing helicopter conservation where you fly in and do something and leave. There has to be a long-term commitment to the project, and they have to show proven results. And we have to have something that I call all-in commitment. That's really a term I came up with. The people doing this work, you'll see some of them risking their lives. You'll see some of them working for very low pay. They really love what they're doing, and they really have fun doing it. They're just so inspiring to be working with. If you fund through us, you'll find that your money will be very well spent on these cost-effective projects and also well managed. We do contracts with the projects. We can do that quite quickly if someone comes up with something that's really good to do and the money to do it. We can get that money out there in a hurry compared to the bigger organizations. So for me anyway, personally, I think ICF is the right place to be engaged. So I want to talk about a trip I took with Scott Hecker, who's one of our volunteers. We went to visit field partners in Baja California and also in Asia, as you can see. Some of these are field partners that ICF supports, and they're all worthy, good projects, and a lot of them I didn't know about before the trip. It was really quite a learning experience for me, visiting all these different projects, and really a experience that I treasure, having been able to do all that. And I want to point out that ICF can arrange visits like that for our donors who want to go visit some of the projects. We can set that up if anybody's interested. And thanks so much for looking at my presentation and maybe listening to what I've had to say. Hopefully it hasn't been too long. And again, the projects that you would fund, if you fund through us, we can guarantee they would be highest conservation value, engaged with the community, long-term commitment, proven results, all-in commitment. And as an organization, ICF is agile, lean, efficient, and effective. We can get that money out there in a hurry, and we make sure it's well managed and well targeted.